welcome back to another Haunted Dollhouse. We're getting into the painting now. So we've managed to get some the balsa wood on there, some trim, just to add a few little bit of the house details of this. There will be more details added. I want to get into painting right away because it's the exciting part as well. We can get into a little more finite sort of stuff as we go. We get excited about things that we see and like, ooh, that would be cool to add this and that. But today we're going to prime this and probably get an underpainting of it, which would be really good to see how this thing is going to look, kind of get the look going for it, immediately. So last episode, we taped off everything. We got all their sort of the abandoned house look to it. It's boarded up. We'll probably add more boarded up things. Might take some away. We'll see how it looks. But at this point now, what I need to do is prime and prep the this hard plastic toy. So you can pick up a couple different plastic primers. There's one by Dulux here that we use. It's a fast drying high-tech primer used for hard plastics, toys and things like that. So this isn't flexible. We're not going to be, it doesn't have to be manipulated. It's just, a prop that sits there. So you can just give a nice coat over top of this hard plastic. Just allows the acrylic paint to bite onto it. So it's just a binder basically. So we could sand this whole thing. We did lightly in the very beginning. We did a light sand on it, but we'll want to actually etch into this just a little bit, just so that the acrylic paint holds on a little bit harder. So I'm going to start with that. And then I'm going to probably just take a little bit of white paint primer and paint areas, and I'm going to give it a bit of a dusting, really. And that, again, is going to allow the paint to bite into that plastic. I don't want to go rushing right into it because sometimes the paint will fall off. So I just want to get right into getting this acrylic paint, the primer to bite. Then I'm going to do an underpainting, sort of a gray wash, basically like old wood. And then we'll do a crackle finish. So I have some crackle medium that we'll play with. It may work for us. We'll just try it in areas. Most of it's going to be sort of, you're going to use a brush and airbrush stuff. So we'll try a couple little effects like this crackle medium. So we'll see how that actually works out for us in some of these bigger panels. And then we'll do a white wash over top of that so it looks like old house paint peeling off. I don't actually want paint falling off of it. I want it to the appearance that it's doing that. So that's what we're going to start with. So let's get to it. We're going to do the primer now. All right, just as I was kind of painting that plastic primer on, I was thinking about this a little bit, and I'm going to actually prime the roof black first. So I have just, I think it's a flat black. What do I have here? It's a satin black. And I'm going to give this a black base on top. Because I kind of want it to have that a shale kind of roof effect. I want it darker. And then I'm going to dry brush a lighter color over top of it, like a gray. So it's kind of, yeah, that, you know, slate kind of gray on top of it. And then have the moss growing on top of that. So because it's primed, and I might as well go ahead and just do that anyway. I'm going to put the black on now. I'm just going to tape this off just so I'm a little bit more careful with my overspray. I will continue with more like hand painting things, but I want to base it out with this spray paint first. This is just so I don't make a monstrous mess. I might just, we'll see how I go here. I don't know if I'm that accurate with a spray can. Nah. Oh, maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll just tape that edge just so I can kind of get closer to that. We'll do it. I'll see how I go. Hannah Montana's Spooky Dollhouse. And then I'll tape off for the white as well. I'll tape all the black areas. All right. Yeah. now put a nice base color on the roof, which looks cool. Like you actually start to see the house coming together. So it went from that weird brown, which you can see down there, like chocolatey brown, to this dark slate color. That's a nice base to go with. And then from there, we can do some dry brushing effects on it with a little bit of gray and just kind of use a brush. And I'll show some techniques when I get to that point. But right now, I'm just giving it everything a base coat. It kind of inspires too as you go. Like you can just start painting a little bit here and go, oh, that looks like this. We can add this and that, whatever else you want to do. I was gonna go with a white primer, but I think I'm changing it up a bit. I'm gonna go with this gloss Dusk gray. And I think that what that'll do when we actually do a crackle effect is when it does crackle, it'll show like a gray sort of color below, which a lot of times when you see old houses and the paint's peeling off, the exposed color underneath will be usually a gray wood tone. So we can do like a brown and a gray underneath, and it'll give that nice little contrast there between the white, which it's actually going to be a white house, and then that gray sort of old wood. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put my mask on, and then we'll just start priming up the plastic. All right, so I'm back into this now. So I've primed everything. I've used my primers. This paint and primer that's it's a gloss dusky gray that I've used over top of everything. Before that, I used a plastic primer from Duramax, Dulux. And basically, just to make sure that everything adheres, because I'm going to be using sort of different paints, but mostly acrylic paint, so we want everything to stay on and lock onto it. It doesn't have to flex or do anything crazy, but we just want the paint to hold on just for enough, especially when we start getting into washes and doing that sort of thing. So we don't want things peeling off. I did try to do this crackle finish on it, but I'm afraid just for time's sake, it takes too long to actually do the thing that I wanted to do. There is an area here that it started to happen. It looks okay, and it is sort of the scale. But I'm just gonna kind of bypass that now, and I'm actually going to just use washes and probably airbrush and stuff to kind of achieve that effect anyway. So just for time's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and paint everything now. So I'm gonna start actually putting on the white paint. Now I may come back and find some little details I might add. I'll just sand that back and add a little skull here or whatever. But just like I said, just for speed of the videos, I'm just gonna go right basically into it. So I'm gonna make this thing look as aged as possible. I did this gray underneath, that way it kind of reads through, which gives it an older effect. So I'm just using some white, titanium white acrylic paint. I think this is some real low budget stuff I'm using here. It's some Mont stuff here. It's not super expensive stuff, but we'll just go ahead. So like I said, I've already started there. I'm just gonna keep painting away. This will be a few coats too. You can see that the gray is really peeking through. That's okay. And I'm just gonna give just a light sort of paint on the actual window trim. I might do that in black or something, I'm not sure yet. I think black will look cool.
think of what you can do too, Tyler. I think you can probably walk around.
You think?
Yeah, with that, and just get some wild movement shots, do you think?
Yeah.
Some close-ups. Paint all that balsa wood too, let that soak in. It's still taped off, so I can actually work around it okay. Flinging it. I mean, I could have spray painted this white, but I think leaving the brush texture into it as well helps. For other things to, when we paint over top of this, it'll give it some texture to grab onto. This is a big house. You seeing all that? We're getting stuff in the way. More paint. More. There's nice brush textures going in here now, so that's cool. There was a little bit of wood grain in this, in the actual plastic, which is pretty interesting, if it's actually there. But, you know, painting back and forth this way, in one direction, like wood grain would be, that helps sell it. I've been looking at a lot of old houses for references lately. I should actually bring them up soon as we get into the closer detail and get some ideas of things that I've been using for reference. Just get this base to sort of dry on, or it'd be easier to go for a second pass. You can see it's looking pretty good too, just with that. It looks really aged. It looks interesting. That primer peeking through. Here's a little house, or inside the house, found a little chair. Got that at the dollar shop up the street, and it's, you know, it's in scale, so I think I'll use it. It's pretty interesting. I might try to find some other little doll furniture and age that up and make that look like, you know, it's busted up and abandoned. Probably put some rubbish inside it. Base. Up and down these posts here. This is great. This acrylic is gonna lock right onto that plastic, really nice, onto that wood. Last side it looks like. Let's get it all nice and coated. And then I think the next showing will definitely be into aging this and doing some cool stuff, the fun stuff. This has been fun, but the real fun stuff comes next. So I can actually see what I'm doing. Base. It's fun painting miniatures. Whatever you want to call it. It could be a diorama. Got a stack of paint. Good thing I got this big jug of it. That balsa wood soaks up the paint as well. So putting a little primer on the balsa wood helps seal the wood because it's very absorbent. It's like a sponge. It'll take a little bit to let all this dry before we go back over it again. And here we are. Back to the side A. I think I'm going to go in separately for those doors and things. I think this is still just a little bit wet on the front. We'll just touch up some spots as we go. Yeah, still just a little fresh.